Brickerbroat23, bringing you another cool thrift store find. The other day I was at the thrift store, found this neat little Sangean WR-2 AM/FM tabletop radio. This has a wireless remote control that goes with it. I did not get that. I picked this unit up for $8. Actually, it was $7.99 plus tax. And it came with the power cord, but like I say, no remote, no instruction manual. It's the way it is. Thrift store finds, you know, I don't really have time in my busy life to sit at a thrift store, but here's what happened. I found this really cool JVC cassette deck that I liked from the late 80s. Really nice deck. At this particular thrift store that I was at, they have a little bench where you can go plug things in and check, you know, and make sure the products work. And it being a cassette, I thought, yeah, I'll just go run and grab a cassette off the shelf over by the albums and the record albums and test all modes and functions, see if it's got a bad belt, because it probably does. So I walked around the store for about 5 minutes. I had the cassette deck underarm, and I finally found a cassette tape. I went over to the little bench, checked it out, and of course, wouldn't you know it, it would not play. So I'm like, all right, well, this kind of sucks. So I put the cassette tape back where I found it. I went and I put the JVC cassette deck where I found it on the shelf. And right next to where that cassette deck was, they just put out this little Sangean WR-2. So this was a fresh find. I'm glad I found it. And at $7.99, it was well worth it. Okay, so some cool things about this. This is RDS, so this is radio data system service controlled. So basically when you tune into an FM station, it will show what the station is and what genre it is usually, and what song is playing at the moment. So we're on FM 10.3, and of course, oh, I guess we're gonna get some Def Leppard. Okay. Anyway, so it's kind of a cool feature. RDS really never did get very popular here in the States. I understand it's more of a European thing, but I don't know. I guess it's kind of a cool feature. But let's look over some quick user features here. I'm not going to get too in-depth into this as far as features and all that goes, because really, if anybody's watched this channel for any given amount of time, I don't really care about the cool, techie, flashy stuff. I'm more interested in how does it sound? And that's really the big deal to me. How does it sound? This thing sounds great. Okay, user features. We have the dimmer control, and it goes up to 7. We'll hit 8, and it'll go back to 0. So I find it as 7 levels. 1, 2, and you go like that. I heard some reviewers say there was 8 on there, and that's not 8 to me. Anyway, so I really like that. This dimmer, whatever you've set this to, stays on as a backlit screen as long as the unit's plugged in. So at night, I like to have it around 2 or so. That seems to be just fine for me. But for demonstration purposes, we're going to jack it up a little bit. So anyway, dimmer, band switch, AM and FM. This has 10 presets, so 5 for AM, 5 for FM, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Power on off switch. This is our info switch, which will give us the year, the day, and date. It's kind of a cool thing, and of course the time. We have a nap control where we can mess around with the alarm system, and it's kind of like a reverse nap feature. I'm not really fond of that particular feature. Look it up if you want to know any more about that. We have the alarm set up here where we can set the alarm to wake you up a couple different ways. Actually, you can use the internal beeper in here, or you can set it up to play your favorite AM or FM station for 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes and up. And that's kind of a cool thing. We have mono and stereo. We have the menu control, so you can turn certain functions on and off. So you can, by the way, you can adjust your tuner here for European or American standard. And this is your factory reset. And it tells you the software version of the unit. Set the clock, pretty easy. You just toggle back, push it again, hit it, and it's set. All right, that's kind of cool. This little hole right here is for the infrared remote sensor. Like I said, I do not have the remote. Okay, cool. So let's turn it on. Okay, something I like about this radio. You know, this is a full range speaker, so it's not a coaxial or anything like that. And you know, it's not flat. You know, some full range speakers are either coney sounding because they could be a dual cone setup, or if they're not a dual cone setup, they just have a standard cone, they can still be a little flat. This one has some pretty good response on it, actually. So in order to change that, you can change the bass and treble on this independently. Push that, you have your bass, treble. I'm a little deaf on the high end, and I like my stuff a little bright anyway, so this gives you that option. And of course we can go so anyway, that's kind of cool. And then of course the tuning. So really pretty straightforward on the front panel. And then 3.5 millimeter headphone jack for that, which I don't really use headphones, but this could plug into a Bluetooth transmitter and you could transmit Bluetooth. So that'd be kind of cool. All right, let's take a look at some rear panel functions here. This is kind of cool. Port. All right. So here's a standard F-type antenna connector. You could use a slide-on or a screw-on for that. And what that does is this is an external FM antenna, and you can switch that from internal to external because it does have a FM, an AM and FM antenna built inside. Auxiliary input, which is switchable from the front. So you could do, oh, I don't know, what would you want to plug into that thing? Maybe your iPod or something? Yeah, that'd be all right. Plug your crappy sounding iPod into this to get some decent fidelity. Record out or preamp out, and I would imagine that is a fixed level out. Honestly, I have not tried that. And then 12 volt input for mobile use, which would work fine. And then we have our external AM and then antenna ground right here. There's our port for the vented enclosure. It's got a little screen in the back here so kids can't stuff toys in there. And yes, I have seen that in a lot of speakers. And then this is our AC input over here. So I'm not sure if at the thrift store somebody tried to check all modes and functions, but I didn't even notice this till I brought it home, or I would have paid up on it. But the AC power cord had a $2 sticker on it, and then this had a sticker on it for $7.99. Did not know that, so hey, got a deal. Somebody back there in the warehouse either tried to run this or saw that, hey, this needs a cord. So there you go. Then of course our frequency range and then IDing and everything. And this unit was produced in August of 2014. It's kind of interesting. I know that these are still on sale on Amazon for like 114 bucks and up. So apparently they're still current. Good sounding radio, very good sounding. I really like this as a desktop radio. My recommendation is if you score one of these, you can play around with, you know, how you can tailor the audio to how you would like it. But I found that anywhere from this sitting from about 2 to 6 inches from the wall produced the best audio bass response, and yeah, it's got really good sound to it. All right, so that being that, let's take a look inside. You know, I mentioned that I think this was in somebody's shop. It had to have been. This is kind of grungy. I just poked out a big old spider web right there. I was actually kind of surprised that nothing crawled out and smiled at me. But yeah, my screwdriver's all crunchy. I can't tell if this is sawdust or sand. All right, well anyway, let's continue taking it apart. I just thought that was interesting. I thought I'd show you guys. Look at that nice finish on here. This thing's in really good shape. It's not scratched up and stuff. It's got a nice finish. I think this is going to polish up and look pretty good. Okay guys, so I've got it ready to pull apart here. I just want you guys to bear with me. I'm very limited on bench space here. So we undo the screws from the rear of the cabinet. and fold the face down, and there's our full range driver. Let's actually just kind of unplug this. Let's see. Okay, so I've never torn this apart, so I'm just kind of winging it here. And then we have a little ground lead right there. So red and black were speakers. We've got a little ribbon cable here. And I'm not sure that I'm going to really play around with that very much. There we go. We can get in there and take a look. All right. Oh, well, look at that. It just pushes out the rear. Wow, let's just breaking her down. All right. Well, that came apart easier than I thought. You know, I really wouldn't have minded the wood enclosure. You know, this sucker, what is that? Is that wood? I'm not really sure what that's made out of. Huh, that's interesting. Anyway, it's good looking. I kind of like that piano black look to it. This sucker's going to clean up real nice. No critters inside either. That's kind of a bonus. All right, so here's the innards of it. So let's break it down. We've got a regulated AC power supply, it looks to be. Quality components in there. What are those caps? Yeah, those are some decent caps. That looks pretty nice. No switching power supply. It's a nice regulated linear type power supply. That's pretty cool. That's good to see. Here's our antenna. Look at all that dirt in there. Look at that. That is wild. That's what came out of it. I wonder what kind of an environment that is. I don't know. I'm kind of a geek. I kind of, you know, I get something that's like, I wonder if this was in some old timer's shop, because you'd find something like this in my shop. This would be up on my shelf, jamming to tunes. Here is the tuner board and audio. And I can't really see what that audio IC is. Anyway. Yeah, that's the insides of it. Kind of cool. You know, with as dirty as it was out on the rear of the panel and whatnot, and the cobweb in the hole there for the screw access, even though this little blocking screen here was in the port area, I was kind of wondering if we're going to find any critters in there, and there are no critters. So it's kind of cool. I'm going to assume this is our tuner down in here. This is a DSP based tuner, so yeah, the FM sounds really good, but it's kind of a narrow bandwidth on AM. Good for receiving local stations. I actually do like the AM receiver in here. I was listening to KFI. I'm currently located in Salt Lake City, so I can listen to KFI. I was trying to get KGO last night, couldn't do that. I've been into AM radio DXing ever since I was probably about 10 years old. It just always just amazed me. You could hear those stations at night, and I got a little bit of action out of this the past few nights. You know, when I go to do a review on something like this, I actually use it for quite a while. I know a lot of reviewers just get it, take it out of the package and whatever. But yeah, I like to hear how they sound. I want to, you know, that's very important. I really, like I said before, I really don't care about all the whiz-bang features of this technology nowadays, but I just want it to sound good. So that being said, I'll quit rambling here, but that being said, the WR-2 is a very nice receiver. Very good sounding rig. I see them on eBay for about $24 and up. I've seen them go as high as $89, and that is sometimes with or without postage added in there or not. Sometimes, I mean, I see people selling these things for like $49. They're charging $27 to ship the thing. At that point, I'd just go on Amazon and buy a new one, you know, because that's with no remote, no manual. So apparently it's still a somewhat current model. They can be got. Anyway, there you go, guys. Thanks for watching. Appreciate it. Please leave comments down below. Like or subscribe if you want to. I really don't care. And I'll leave an Amazon link down below. If you want to check that out, you can take a look. By the way, on the Amazon links, you guys, you know, all this stuff that I review and work with comes out of my own pocket. And I've thought about doing the Patreon thing, and I don't want to beg for money. But that being said, I am an Amazon affiliate. And so when you guys click on one of my Amazon links and you go and buy something on Amazon, yeah, I get a couple pennies commission here and there. And really, that is the money that I use to buy this stuff. So when you guys do that, you're supporting this channel. Dr. Evil is supporting me, because really it doesn't come out of anybody's pocket but Dr. Evil's pocket. Oh, I'm sorry, Bezos. So, you know, you guys click on a link and help support this channel. Buy something. Anyway, appreciate it. Over and out. Breaker Broke 23.